But I'm a little challenged because this is a video for Christians by a Christian, by a believer. And the question really becomes, what type of Christians are you attracting? Welcome into That Works, where I take the content that you submit and give you feedback on the good, the bad, and the interesting. Here are a few ground rules. Feedback follows the sandwich method, meaning 2 slices of encouragement and suggestions to improve in the middle. This is a safe space for creators, and the comment section needs to reflect that. And support the featured creators on their own channel. Remember, we cannot do this without each other. Our featured creator is Lachlan Davis of Bible Unboxed. And Lachlan says his biggest challenge is niching the videos, so trying to balance an engaging video thumbnail and title with people who will enjoy the Bible niche. The video is called "Why Did God Send Evil Spirits on People?"
We're all familiar with the idea of demons and evil spirits, the devil and all that. But did you know there's actually a couple of times in the Bible when God sends an evil spirit on people? What does that mean? Is God working with demons?
I know I don't come down here very often, but I wanted you guys to know you're doing a great job.
Let's look at 1 Samuel 16. Why does God send an evil spirit?
We were rolling, and I only stopped it because I felt like he was going into more, and so I wanted to kind of stop us here. But expert level. This content is already so well structured. I love how you kind of set us up, Lachlan, with what we're going to get into. And if you notice, guys, he started with a question. He started with, that question about, is God working with evil spirits? Can evil come from God? I think that's really, really powerful, because not only after I've clicked on this video am I going to get the answer to my question, he's setting that up, but I'm also getting this kind of additional bonus where he's going to answer more than one question. And this is something that is honestly for a more advanced level creator, as Lachlan is. But when you have set up your content and you know kind of where you're going, in other words, if you're mapping out your content to the point where you know what the end result is going to be, you know what your closer is and your clincher, then from the very beginning, we get a very clear tone. And if you notice, Lachlan has already added in a bit of elements that give you like humor, with like the medieval painting God figure coming and talking to the demon in hell and saying, I just want to let you know, you're doing a great job. Like, this is a creator who knows what they're doing, who knows where they're going. So I'm really excited to get into the content just with that opening.
Let's look at 1 Samuel 16. Why does God send an evil spirit on Saul, and what does that mean? In the story, Saul is king over Israel, and God tells him through the prophet Samuel that his time is up, and he does not take that too well. And at the same time, God appoints a new king, the shepherd boy David, who most people know from the story of David and Goliath. And the story describes David's anointing as king as God's spirit coming to rest upon him. The very next thing that happens in the story is God sends an evil spirit onto Saul. Saul has this kind of mental breakdown, and the only thing that can calm him down is the sweet, sweet music of the lyre.
Oh my gosh. You guys see how that was smooth. It was seamless. He threw that call to action, that CTA to subscribe, up with something that was funny, that already had our attention, and honestly was delightful. I love the angel playing like the lyre, the lyre, solo. And if I'm watching this for the first time, I would subscribe right away because it got my attention. It was funny. It was cute. It also, Lachlan's doing something really cool where he is allowing there to be, humor and light in a topic that's pretty heavy. Evil spirits being somewhat dark, and sometimes people, kind of take that to that ghoulish, that demented level. And he's really letting there be air and kind of giving it kind of a light, comical tone. And I think that's really, really key. When you are dealing with dense and heavy topics, you want to make sure you're not dragging your audience down with it. And I think Lachlan's doing a really good job of making sure that he keeps it up, he keeps it light, he keeps it fun. So I love that moment.
The challenging thing for readers is the phrasing. God sent an evil spirit to torment Saul. Part of the problem is that when we think of spirits, we think of ghosts and ghouls and demons. Spirits seem like the stuff of fantasy and fiction. But for the ancient Israelites, the language of spirit was a part of their worldview. So what exactly is this evil spirit that God sends upon Saul? A famous Jewish rabbi thought that the evil spirit represented how each of us have a good and a bad angel influencing our lives.
Don't do it. Think about your diet. Yeah, think about how lame that is. Eat them both.
These creative interpretations had their time and place, but they don't satisfy many modern readers.
The B-roll. You guys know I love when you act in your own B-roll. And Lachlan did this beautifully. He put himself as the character of the story, and we got a bit of a reprieve from the lesson, and we got his kind of inner thought with the ice cream. I thought that was so cool. And, you know, that shot was actually pretty complicated. Like, if you just look at it, you're like, wow, this was so easily done. But it wasn't. He had, you know, not only the shot of himself facing the refrigerator, but he also had the shot of the fridge and the ice cream, and then his hands going in to get the ice cream. And then like all of that intentionality in the storytelling, you guys, I know it might seem like a lot when you're first starting, but when you start to get to the point where you're really understanding your groove and you're understanding the basics of filmmaking and storytelling, you can use all this stuff to your benefit to keep that retention, to keep people watching your video longer. And here we are, we're not even 2 minutes in, and Lachlan's given us a lot. He's given us a lot to really expect and keep us up. And I think when you build all of that really powerful, kind of interesting and intriguing things to watch in the beginning, it really keeps people watching you all the way through the end, because they don't want to miss anything. They know that you always throw in, you know, nuggets, and you throw in red herrings, and you throw in things that are possibly going to throw us off. And so we don't want to miss that. And I think you want to build that anticipation as you craft your stories, just as Lachlan has done here.
But even since ancient times, there have been other interpretations that the evil spirit was a way of describing something seen. Perhaps the evil spirit was an ancient way of talking about Saul's mental state. It's clear from the stories in Samuel that Saul was prone to mood swings and irrational behavior, and it seems like he had some sort of mental breakdown. Now, we could never medically diagnose any historical Saul, but in the story, those around David and Saul clearly saw a significant change in their character, and the language they had to describe that was the language of spirits from God. Spirit language is tricky though, because like I said before, when we think of spirits, we think of ghosts, ghouls, or even alcohol. And so we are much more comfortable thinking of the spirit on Saul as a mental illness rather than some sort of supernatural force or being. But thinking of spirit language in the Bible as a ghost-like figure, that isn't accurate. The Hebrew word for spirit is ruach, and it can also mean wind or breath. The idea is that spirit is invisible and powerful.
So to bring to his challenge where he says that he struggles with the niching of it, it's like, how do you niche, you know, Bible Unboxed? How do you niche Bible content? How do you make sure that the people that are in that niche are enjoying that content? I have a couple of ideas. One of which is really determining your ideal subscriber. So I don't know what audience Lachlan is targeting. I assume it's going to be people who are interested in the Bible, who are interested in Bible history. It's not necessarily for just your run-of-the-mill, maybe Christian reader or watcher. It's for someone that wants to go deeper, wants to understand the Hebrew terms, and he brought that out. And so because, Lachlan, you positioned yourself as an expert, the question becomes, who is looking for your expertise? Who is interested in learning from you? Not necessarily saying that that you don't have the personality to teach everyone, but there is a specific group that's going to understand you. And how I usually pick this out when I think about my ideal subscriber is I just think about me younger, or me, you know, a couple days ago before I knew what I know now. If you can envision that person, what are they into? What are their likes and dislikes? What do they find themselves drawn to? You know, if they're like you, but younger or before this time, before you knew this information, what are they searching on YouTube? When I'm looking at your thumbnail, the thing that I see that is really, you know, key is it's bright, it's colorful. We've got the, you know, demon kind of devil character in that cartoony form. So you know it's going to be a comical style video. But the question is, I don't really know if I need 1 Samuel 16, the Holy Bible down there. I don't think I need those emblems. How can we evoke or persuade people that this video is going to be about evil spirits being unleashed, or like the comparison between evil spirits and mental illness. Like I wonder if there's something we can play with that's more culturally even relevant, that would help this story be told in the thumbnail. And so I would really go further with that into what question am I answering, and then maybe making the thumbnail that symbol.
So when an evil spirit from God torments Saul, it's probably best to rule out the idea that it's Satan or one of his demons tormenting Saul. It was probably understood as one of two possibilities. First, that some sort of spiritual servant of God was bringing to Saul the negative consequences of his own actions. The other possibility is that what the writers are trying to describe as an evil spirit is Saul's deteriorating mental state, which everyone would have been able to see. Calling it an evil or bad spirit from God was the ancient Israelite way of attributing all things to God. See, I think it's unwise to try and reduce all of the more spectacular parts of the Bible to natural phenomena. After all, the Christian faith asserts the death and resurrection of Jesus, which does require faith in something we know is normally impossible.
The point that he just made about I want to make sure I say it correctly. It's unwise to deduce that the supernatural to like natural understanding or natural phenomenon is a really big point. Like, he kind of glossed over it. I would have loved it, Lachlan, if you kind of sat on that a little bit more, because I feel like that would be kind of a root for you, like a brand, right? That we don't want to explain away the things that we don't understand, the things that are supernatural in scripture, just because it's uncomfortable or just because it's awkward to talk about. And I really like the tonality of the video. It's going more into like, it feels at least that it's going more into your kind of final moments. And I sense that. And it's interesting because your music is somewhat bouncy and it's kind of giving like a different energy than you going towards the end. And I think that's intentional. You let me know down in the comments below what you guys think, but it almost seems as though you're competing on purpose. And maybe that's because you don't want the closing of this video to drag.
There should be some openness to the mystery, to the possibility that the story of 1 Samuel 16 invites you to understand something of a mysterious, unseen spiritual reality where God is at work through spiritual servants. Yet at the same time, we want to acknowledge that God is the God of reality, and the story presents the character of Saul as bringing his demise on himself. So the language of spirit as a powerful yet invisible force aligns with whatever unknown factors caused Saul's breakdown. Then the language of spirit, despite its ambiguities, is the most appropriate for describing both possibilities, seen and unseen. Hey, thanks for watching Bible Unboxed. If you liked that video, leave a comment, share the video around, and subscribe to the channel.
Man, what a great, great, great video. And you guys, I highly encourage you to go and watch Lachlan's video. His channel link will be down in the description box below. And I want you to answer this question. What do we do with people once we get them beyond basic, elementary Christianity, and now we're bringing them in with not only contextual understanding, which we all should have, but also with language, we're talking about the Hebrew and the Aramaic and like who these people are and the culture. What did the words, when they read them and they read the stories, what did it mean to them in a Jewish context? I think that's super important, because if you're bringing it to that lower level and kind of saying, hey, we're not going to do spiritual milk anymore. We are going for the meat. We're going deeper so that you can understand your place in all of what God's plan is. I think we really have to be almost, I don't want to say elementary, but we need to be very specific about who we're talking to and why we're using the language that we're using. Like even now, as I talk and I kind of review content that you guys send me, my goal is to really allow anyone who's starting in their content creator journey to come in and garner from me. So whether you're a beginner creator or whether you're more advanced, my hope is that you'll come here and you'll be fed, and that I won't lose the beginners because I'm talking too deeply about something, and I'm not going to frustrate the advanced because I'm talking too low. So there's a balance there that I think you can still find. But what is something that you took from Lachlan's lesson? Not just his content, but like his lesson, like what he was teaching. What did you learn from it? I would love to hear your thoughts down in the description box below, because there are so many gems and so many revelations that I learned from you. So thank you for sharing. And if you'd like to submit your own video for feedback, you can go ahead and submit a video up to 10 minutes to thatworksreviews@gmail.com with your name, your channel link, the link to the video, and your biggest video challenge. And I can't guarantee that you'll be on the show, but I will certainly watch your content and send you back some feedback. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye now.